guys, this is Rick at Tasty Guitar. Well, kind of always standing in the shadows of his younger, better-known brother Bootsy, Phelps Catfish Collins was most definitely a pioneer of funk rhythm guitar. From his early work with the JBs, laying it down in some of James Brown's most iconic hits, to Bootsy and the entire Parliament-Funkadelic collective, Catfish's unique style and tone has helped propel some of the greatest funk anthems of all time. Today we're going to be breaking down 5 juicy grooves from Catfish. Make sure you come by Tasty Guitar, get the free tab for this lesson by signing up on the bottom of the homepage, and check the description below for information about membership at Tasty Guitar. Tune up and let's get started. Alright guys, let's go ahead and break down this first rhythm here. This is of course coming out of the great James Brown classic Talking Loud and Saying Nothing, original JBs on this track. This is in E flat, okay, and I'm playing basically an E flat 9 groove, taking the top part of the chord here, just the top 3 strings. Now I'm going to hit play those with my third finger barred across the top 3 strings there. Right on the and of beat 1, going to hit the chord, slide it down a half step, bring it back, and then hit it one more time on the upstroke. So that's going to look like this. 1. Now I highly recommend that you keep everything lined up with the downstroke on the downbeat. And if you're going to do that, that means you need to keep your right hand in motion throughout that slide. So I start on a down strum, 1. When I slide down, my hand comes up. When I slide up, my hand goes back down without hitting the strings. 1. Okay, after the strumming part there, you're going to go to a picking part, and you're going to start that on the B flat note down on the low E string there at the 6th fret, followed by the C and the D flat. So far you would have this. 1. Right after beat 3 on the picking part, the 2nd 16th note there. 1. Then you're going to go up to the F note, the G note, and the A flat note there at the 6th fret on the D string. And that's going to come after beat 4 on the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th 16th notes. So altogether, this is the first measure. 1. Again, 1. Now the second measure in the rhythm is pretty much identical. You're just adding one note, and that is during the picking part there. You're going to add an E flat note at the 6th fret on the A string. So here's the second measure of this rhythm. 1. So here's the entire rhythm played very slowly. 1. Now let's go ahead and repeat it and pick it up a little bit. 1. Alright, of course we got to include Flashlight, the great classic dance tune by Parliament here. Basically this is a C minor 7 chord here, playing up on the 11th and 12th fret. If you don't know this voicing, basically it's coming off of a minor chord here, C minor, replacing the root with the flat 7, and then I'm just playing the top 3 strings instead of all 4 there. Or you can look at this as, here's your C minor chord there at the 8th fret, go up 3 frets from the root on the high E string, 1, 2, 3, form that shape, and that will always be a minor 7 chord with the root there. Okay, so a C minor 7 chord here. We're starting with a scratch on dead strings, and then going to play this rhythm the following 3 strums. Going to do that on the first 3 beats of the measure. On beat 4, we're going to hit the first 3 strums. So altogether, here is the first measure on that C minor 7 chord. Again. You can hear I get a little phaser going on as well. And the second measure, we're going to an F7 chord, and I'm just playing the top 3 strings of your typical bar chord voicing down there at the 8th fret. Hit the top 3 strings. I'm holding it with this fingering. You could also use your 3rd finger. But we're going to go up to the 11th fret there, so I would recommend using the pinky on that note. Okay, starting by hitting all the strums on beat 1. On beat 2, as I said, you're going to go up to the 11th fret there, make that a 7 sus chord. Dead strum. And the last 16th note of beat 2, going to go back to the 7 chord. So the first 2 beats of that measure are. Again. Okay, the last 2 beats of the measure, you're just going to hit the up strums, the upstrokes there on dead strings. So that would be. So altogether, the second measure would be this. Now let's combine it with that first measure, and here is the entire rhythm. Let's pick it up a little bit now. Now with most things, if you listen to the tune, you're not going to necessarily hear it played like that every single repetition and every measure. You know, these guys were not robots, you know, they had freedom to play around the chords and put things in little different places a little bit. So as you play this, you know, feel free to add in some strums in different spots, or, you know, replace some strums with scratches if you feel it. All right, guys, this groove in Brutzilla is super funky, and it's a great example of the use of thirds. Now, basically, we are in F sharp here, kind of playing over an F sharp dominant chord groove. And so the thirds are based out of F sharp mixolydian. All right, so I'm going to play through the first measure. This is all thirds in F sharp mixolydian. So if you don't know that stuff, you really need to learn these patterns all the way up the neck, because they make great stuff to add into funk rhythms, as you can tell in this rhythm. Okay, so we're starting right here on the last 16th note of beat 1, and I'll go ahead and play through the entire measure here. 1. Again, 1. Going into the second measure of the rhythm, we're going back down to the 5th fret, up to the 9th fret, which is just kind of part of that F sharp 9 chord, and then right on beat 4, gonna go up to an F sharp chord here, hit that, and kind of slide out of it. So here are the first 2 measures real slowly. 1. I really recommend you keep your right hand in constant motion to keep you locked in time. 1. All right, in the third measure of this rhythm, you're just going to be playing a couple different shapes here. The barred first finger, barred index finger at the 9th fret, and then up at the 11th fret. And you can do that with a barred 3rd finger. I'm doing it with my 3rd and 4th fingers. Here is the timing and what's going on in this 3rd measure. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. Now let's combine that with the first 2 measures. 1. And in the final measure here, you're going to play a little lick here starting at the 8th fret, going up to the 9th fret, pulling that off, down to the 11th fret on the D string, ending back on that D sharp at the 8th fret. Have a couple beats rest on beats 2 and 3, and then on the last beat of that measure, you're going to go back up to these shapes we used in the previous measure. So, measure 4, 2, 3. Now let's play the entire figure from the very beginning. 1. Get up. All right, this one from another great tune from Bootsy's Play of the Year album, Roto-Rooter, the name of the tune here, on top of an A dominant chord, basically right up here at the 12th fret. Now you would have an A9 chord. All right, from the very beginning here, index finger barred at the 12th fret, hit that twice there, 14th fret barred with the 3rd finger, back, repeat. Up to the 15th fret barred with my 3rd finger, so again that figure. Cut that stuff off really quickly, and then going to do a descending melody from the C note, B, A, down to the G, back to the A note at the 14th fret there. Now from here you can repeat it going back up to the 14th fret instead of starting at the 12th fret there on beat 1. So you're going to repeat it and it's going to sound like this. Anyway, it's just a great example of his use of intervals of fourths and also really high melody. It's something you'll hear in Catfish's playing a lot. Alright guys, this great groove here was from the Brides of Frankenstein's Disco to Go, another great spin-off group from P-Funk. Okay, now this is basically over a D9 kind of groove, and this is another example of a Catfish's great use of chords and single notes within one rhythm. Okay, starting on the top of a D9 chord with your barred 3rd finger, gonna hit the chord, down a half step, and back on beat 2 there. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then you're going to hit a dead D string, then the F note there at the 3rd fret on the D string. So the first couple beats of the rhythm are this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then to finish out the first half of this rhythm here, you're going to go down to the root at the 5th fret on the A string, the D note there, down to the C note at the 3rd fret, hit that a couple times, and back to the D. Here is the first measure. 2, 3, 4. Again, 2, 3, 4. Then into the second half of this rhythm, it starts exactly like the first measure, but then you're going to hit dead strings, and on the upstroke, hit a D6 chord. That is the barred 3rd finger there at the 7th fret. So far you would have this. And you're going to finish out that second measure by going down to the A note on the low E string, moving chromatically to the G note. So here's the entire second measure. And now let's pick it up a little bit and repeat it.